Many people miss the concept behind provisional estimates. SARS wants the tax due on income when the income is actually earned. Where this is not possible, SARS says that all taxes due to SARS must be paid by the end of the tax year. SARS does not want to wait until the taxpayer eventually submits an assessment before SARS gets the tax due on income that was earned 6 months or a year earlier. If all of the taxpayer's income is subject to pay-as-you-earn, then this problem doesn't exist, as pay-as-you-earn is paid over to SARS when the income is earned. SARS has a problem when the taxpayer earns income that is not taxed at source, in that SARS will have to wait until the taxpayer submits an assessment, and this could be close to a year after the end of the tax year in which the income was earned. SARS insists that all taxes due are paid to SARS by the last day of the tax year, so these taxpayers have to register as provisional taxpayers. Provisional taxpayers have to do an estimate of their income and pay SARS the tax due on that income in 2 amounts during the tax year. A first period provisional estimate must be done by the 31st of August, which is 6 months into the tax year, and a final second period estimate must be done by the last day of the tax year. A provisional estimate is like a mini assessment. You do an estimate of taxable income that the taxpayer is expected to earn in the whole year, and halfway into the tax year at the end of August, you must pay half the tax due on the full taxable income you expect to earn in the whole tax year. Let's have a look at the Prov Tax screen in WinTax 2021. The Prov Tax screen in WinTax will pick up the taxpayer's name and age from the personal details of the taxpayer currently loaded into the WinTax program. Let's say that we estimate this taxpayer's taxable income for the full year will be 500,000 Rand, earned entirely from real estate investment trust. No tax was deducted from this income at source, and the taxpayer had no deductions, so the estimate of taxable income for the full year is 500,000 Rand. We can see that the tax due on the full year's estimated taxable income of 500,000 Rand is 125,193 Rand. The primary rebate is 14,958, and after the primary rebate, the tax due on the full year's income of 500,000 Rand is 110,235 Rand. SARS wants half the tax now at the end of August, so 55,117 Rand and 50 cents is payable now. If any tax had been deducted during the first 6 months of this tax year, say some of the 500,000 was salary, then we can enter the pay-as-you-earn here, say 30,000 Rand. And we can see that the payment due now is 25,117 Rand and 50 cents. While all other income estimates are for the full tax year, any taxes deducted that you enter here must be taxes deducted in the first 6 months of the tax year, from 1st of March up to 31st of August. I've deleted the 30,000 Rand taxes already paid, and we are back to owing 55,117 Rand and 50 cents due by 31st of August. You can see that we have to estimate income for the full 12 months of the tax year and pay half the tax due on the full estimated taxable income now. Just as we have to be careful not to underestimate income when doing provisional estimates, as SARS's penalties are severe, if we overpay now, then we could only get that excess amount back in a year's time. Just as we have to estimate income for the full 12 months of the tax year, we are allowed to enter medical aid expenses for the full year in order to determine tax credits. This is very important, as it can considerably reduce the provisional payments due. This Prov Tax screen includes an MTC or medical tax credit calculator, which does all the very complex medical tax credit calculations for you. Firstly, we enter the number of beneficiaries covered by the medical aid fund. Let's just enter 2 for each month for the full year. Then we open the MTC calculator and enter the full amount of all allowable contributions for the full tax year, and we enter what we estimate we will be paying out of our own pocket for code 4020 medical expenses not reimbursed. We can see our medical tax credits have reduced our provisional tax payments by very nearly 11,000 Rand in this case. That would be another 11,000 Rand you would only get back in a year's time when SARS finally assessed you. Just one more thing. The Prov Tax screen uses the taxpayer's age to calculate primary rebates and medical tax credits. If this taxpayer was not yet 65, but one of the beneficiaries suffered from a disability, then you would enter the out-of-pocket expenses as code 4023, and this shows a further reduction of another 11,000 Rand in the provisional payment due.